A true cappuccino isn't just about that shot of strong espresso, it's equally about the glorious foam. That dense, velvety milk foam is what gives a cappuccino its signature texture and the perfect balance that coffee lovers crave. Whether you're lucky enough to have an espresso machine with a steam wand or you're using a simple manual frother right at home, mastering the art of frothing milk specifically for cappuccinos is easier than you might think. Today we're diving into exactly how you can achieve that luxurious thick foam every single time. So what makes cappuccino foam so special? Well, unlike lattes, cappuccinos call for a higher ratio of foam to milk. Traditionally, a perfect cappuccino is composed of 1/3 rich espresso, 1/3 beautifully steamed milk, and a generous 1/3 of that glorious milk foam. And importantly, this foam shouldn't be airy and weak. It should be dense yet not dry, glossy to the eye, but structured enough to hold its shape. Step number 1, choose your milk wisely. For achieving that classic cappuccino foam, whole milk is often your best friend. Thanks to its higher fat content, it helps create a rich and stable texture without the foam becoming too dry or brittle. If you prefer non-dairy alternatives, opt for the barista versions of oat, almond, or soy milk. These are specifically formulated to give you more consistent and satisfying frothing results. Here's a pro tip. Always start with fresh, cold milk straight from the refrigerator. The colder the milk, the more time you have to texture it perfectly before it reaches that point of being too hot. Next up, invest in a proper stainless steel frothing pitcher. This will give you much better control over the milk volume, the temperature as it heats, and the crucial aeration process. Ideally, you'll want to fill the pitcher only about 1/3 full with cold milk to allow ample space for the milk to expand as it froths. If you're using an espresso machine with a steam wand, here's your step-by-step guide. First and foremost, purge the wand briefly to remove any built-up water condensation. Next, submerge just the tip of the steam wand slightly below the milk surface. Turn on the steam, and listen for that light, steady, hissing sound. This is the sound of air being introduced. Then, lower the pitcher ever so slightly to introduce more air and create those tiny microbubbles that are key to velvety foam. Once the milk has expanded by about 30 to 40% in volume, gently lift the pitcher so that the steam wand is still submerged, but no longer actively adding more air. This will texture the milk. Heat the milk to around 140 degrees Fahrenheit or 60 degrees Celsius. The pitcher will feel just too hot to comfortably touch, then turn off the steam. Finally, immediately swirl the pitcher gently afterwards to smooth out the foam and integrate any larger bubbles. Don't have a steam wand? Don't worry. You can still create impressively good foam using some simple tools you might already have. First, heat your milk to about 140 degrees Fahrenheit, making sure it doesn't boil. Then, pour the warmed milk into a clean French press and rapidly pump the plunger up and down to create that thick, cappuccino-style foam. If you're using a handheld frother, heat your milk beforehand. Then, immerse the frother and use a circular motion, really focusing on creating fine, tight bubbles rather than large, airy ones. For a simple DIY method, pour your heated milk into a jar with a tight-fitting lid. Shake it vigorously for about 30 to 60 seconds. Then let the foam settle for a moment before spooning the thick foam onto your prepared espresso. While these methods might not perfectly replicate the results of a professional steam wand, they can get surprisingly close to that dense, velvety texture with a little bit of practice. Once your milk is beautifully frothed, it's time to assemble your cappuccino. Pour the steamed milk into your shot of espresso first, and then gently spoon that luxurious, dense foam right on top. The foam should form a thick and stable cap, without immediately collapsing or separating into those undesirable big bubbles. Let's quickly touch on some common mistakes to avoid. Overheating your milk will not only lead to unpleasant burnt flavors, but will also kill the quality of your foam. Introducing too much air too early in the steaming process will often result in large, uneven bubbles, instead of that smooth, dense foam you're after. And finally, don't forget to swirl your milk pitcher immediately after steaming. Neglecting this step can result in the foam separating from the liquid milk in your drink. Frothing milk for the perfect cappuccino is truly an art, but it's an art that you absolutely can master right in the comfort of your own home. With the right techniques, a little bit of patience as you practice, and good quality milk, you'll soon be creating cafe-worthy cappuccinos without ever having to leave your kitchen. So go ahead, enjoy every rich and wonderfully foamy sip.